We're now at the back end of our MRF. We've done our collection, we've done our sorting, and now we have all our nice baled commodities ready to send out to market. And there are a lot of different commodities that you can buy if you're a remanufacturer. So all the different materials we have, and then we have different grades of each. We might have different colors of each. So there's lots of things you could be marketing. And based on how much source separation you're doing and how much processing you're doing at your MRF, you'll be able to get more specific and clean materials, which are higher value. The more mixed and contaminated, the lower value you'll be able to get for them, and the lower use you'll be able to use that material. So it's always better to get cleaner material from a reused and a revenue standpoint, but not always possible to do that based on the system that you're operating within. There are many types of remanufacturers who are buying up this recycled materials to make new products out of. So paper usually goes to make more paper. Every time you reuse paper, you end up chopping up the fibers and making them a little bit smaller. So it's an example of downcycling, and you need to add a little bit of virgin wood fiber back in to keep it as strong as it was. But generally, you can get pretty good recycled content margins in your paper. If you look at any cardboard box, you get something and next time you order it, you'll see it'll say like 80% post-consumer recycled or something like that. So really high recycled content. Cardboard boxes are a really good example of an industry that's been able to reuse material very well. It's also when sometimes you think, this box is too big, there's too many boxes, do we really need all this stuff? But the material itself is a pretty good system for recycling. Glass is an interesting one because the actual glass molecule, you can really recycle infinite times because it gets refined every time you remanufacture it. What makes it lose value is actually all the different colors of glass mixed together. So there's these plants called glass beneficiation plants, which actually sort out the different colors of broken glass and then allow you to remanufacture into that same color. If you don't sort it out, you'll have to use it for like a brown glass, which is kind of a mix of the other colors, or you can use it for lower purposes. So instead of remanufacturing it back into a glass container, you could use it for something like fiberglass where the color doesn't matter, or even aggregate, so using it instead of gravel in different pavements. Metals will go to smelters where it will be mixed in with material that might be generated from virgin ore. And metal's another one. It gets refined when you re-smelt it. So it's one that you can use over and over again without losing really any integrity just because it gets upcycled every time you reprocess it. Plastics is a tough one because there's so many different types of resin and colors. You might not necessarily be able to make the same container that you recycled out of the recycled material unless you're able to recover the same type of resin and potentially even the color from it. So you might be making containers from that material again. You might be spinning it into fibers and making textiles. You might be producing something out of a mixed resin such as plastic lumber. It really depends on how clean you can get that material. One of the challenges in end markets for both people selling recycled commodities and buying them to remanufacture goods is the volatility of pricing. So municipality might not necessarily know how much revenue they're going to be making from their recycling, and a manufacturer might not know how much they're going to have to spend on recycled material versus buying virgin material. The prices are going to be changing both based on market forces, such as supply and demand, as well as non-market forces, such as regulations passed on where recycled commodities can be sent, and regulations on post-consumer content requirements or incentives for using post-consumer content. So there's been a lot of change in the prices over the years. It's tough for recycled commodities to compete with virgin materials because it's always harder to get good quality with the upstream value chain on the recycling materials. It's harder to have that quality control you can get with virgin materials. And you might not even be able to compete on price just because it's so cheap to extract fossil fuels. And there's so much involved in the recycling value chain. So this is something that won't necessarily resolve itself on its own. And we'll probably have to see more leadership and incentives from the government to really see all this material we should be capturing actually be used in the end. One of the big developments in the last few years in terms of recycling markets is a series of import bans passed first by China and then other Asian countries on dirty recycling from North America and Europe. So for many years, China had been buying up recycling that was very highly contaminated and not separated very well from these markets. And they were doing that because they had really cheap labor and petroleum products were relatively expensive. Now labor is more expensive in China and petroleum is cheaper. So it's much easier for them just to make virgin materials and not worry about all these items. Diane Sachs touches on this a little bit in her interview, so go listen to that if you haven't done that already. But the effect was in 2017, 2018, there was this huge stop in where recycling could move, and everyone was panicking and saying, oh, we can't send this to China anymore. What are we going to do? And we're still trying to figure out what are we going to do. So the first impulse was just to send it to other countries in Asia. So here's the graph of European waste, and you can see the big blue sections are Hong Kong and China. So beginning in early 2017, those really trickled down as they restricted those dirtier streams. But then all these other countries in Asia just started taking more and more and more. Now what's happened is the countries that were taking more are all now putting their own bans because they don't want the material either. So there was this initial increase in imports, and now that's going down as well. So it puts more pressure back on us who are generating the waste to either generate less waste or use it ourselves because it's less easy for us to get rid of it. And in Ontario, this should echo through the EPR system and help design materials that are not going to be destined for this, one-way road to Asia, which is not really a circular economy. And if you haven't seen the consequences of some of these illegal dumping and incinerating in Asia, I'll link this video for you, which shows some of that. And really the argument to make here is that it would be better to landfill this material in a jurisdiction where we have really good regulations and monitoring around landfilling rather than say it's recycling, so it's good, but then send it to a jurisdiction where it's actually going to end up in the ocean or being burnt or in an uncontrolled landfill. So this whole idea of the blue box as like an automatically good thing really has been shown to be an illusion based on what has happened in Southeast Asia over the last few years with all our dirty recycling being sent there.